Hi, friends. Happy New Year. Time marches on, doesn't it? Over the past 6 or 7 years, it has been our tradition to have our nieces and nephews at our house for a sleepover on New Year's Eve. We play board games and video games. We make things like party hats and gingerbread houses and pretzels. We eat lots of junk food. And of course, we count down the new year with sparkling grape juice. We have a 9 o'clock countdown for the younger ones. And it's a rite of passage to be able to stay up until midnight as you get older. Until you get a lot older and you wish you could go to bed at 9 o'clock. We always have a lot of fun together. This year we camped out in the house. We put a tent up in the upstairs office, which made bedtime more enticing. We walked over to the church and played parachute games in Shepherd Hall to burn off some of the sugar energy. And a lot of that sugar energy came from hot chocolate. This year, after supper, we made cocoa bombs. Have you seen these? We melted chocolate and put it into round molds. And when it hardened, we had 2 halves of a hollow ball. We filled one half with cocoa and marshmallows, and then we attached the other half by slightly melting it around the seam. After it solidified, we decorated the outside with icing and sprinkles, more sugar. When we put those balls into a cup of warm milk, the outer shell melted, and the cocoa and the marshmallows exploded and came to the surface of the milk. Once it all melted and dissolved, it was a rich, creamy, sweet treat. The cocoa bomb might serve as a metaphor for the Christian experience. When we are immersed in the warm love of Jesus, our hard outer shell melts away. Our defenses are lowered, our barriers are deconstructed, our excuses are quieted. When that hard outer shell is melted away, then what's inside of us, the thoughts of our mind and the intent of our heart, is exposed and floats to the surface. Now, some of that is sweet, like the marshmallows, compassion, empathy, generosity, patience. And some of it is bitter, like the cocoa. Have you ever tasted straight cocoa? Things like regret and sorrow, selfishness, bitterness. But somehow, mysteriously and amazingly, the warm love of Jesus transforms it all, the sweet and the bitter and even the hard outer shell, into something good. Jesus doesn't remove our troubles and our heartaches. He redeems them. And he uses them to make our life and faith more and more like his. Now, of course, it does make a difference what we put into the cocoa bombs and what we put into our heart and our mind. If we filled the cocoa bomb with salt and horseradish, for example, it would take huge amounts of chocolate and milk to make that combination palatable. Well, nothing is impossible for Jesus and his love. But it sure would make Jesus' job easier if we filled our heart and mind with love and joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control, instead of with things like fear and worry and bitterness and entitlement and judgmentalism and envy, dissension, worry, and anger. As we begin 2023, I encourage you to rest in the warm love of Jesus and allow it to melt away the barriers between you and him and between you and others. And trust that somehow Jesus and his love are working to make both the bitter and sweet experiences of your life into something good. Thanks for listening. I'll see you again next week.